Hello and welcome to Conversations about conversations in cars with comedians. My name is Ivan Farber. I'm your host, and I'm joined here today by someone very dear and special to me, my brother,
Hi.
Paul Farber. And what we wanted to talk about was how to overcome obstacles in conversations. You would like to frame the conversation a little bit?
Yeah. I'm not a comedian. I'm a curator and a historian, though I try to bring a good outlook and sometimes a lightness to even, really intense and serious work.
Right.
And, something that we often talk about is how to build rapport.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what rapport in a conversation will do is allow you to rise to the occasion or deal with an obstacle.
Exactly.
And I think, in my work, I produce public art projects and public history projects, and people are very passionate about them, but they carry a lot of weight, and
Right.
reasonably so, right? They're dealing with...
Well, why do they carry weight?
Well, really dealing with some of societies or a particular city's
Okay.
History and how you make
Okay.
that known. And I think that there are history is not just the thing that happened in the past, it's how you tell the story, how you represent it. And so there's all these moments to make sure that you're on the same page, or you recognize you're not on the same page and you figure out how you deal with that.
I'm impressed by that phrase. History is not something that is not... Say that again.
Well, history is not what happened, it's what is said to have happened.
Got it. Very profound.
There's a lot of great thinking about that, a lot of people who have been working in that regard. So I think part of what you have to recognize too, or part of what I try to recognize is that when we're talking about the past,
Yes.
in the present,
Yes.
we're talking really about the present as well as the future.
I love that.
Right? And so, yes, of course it's about the past, what we've inherited, what we've learned, what we've been challenged by, and also what we're going to do about it now. So, if I'm working with, a public park or even an artist, and they say, I really want to bring forward this idea from the past, I have to protect it.
Okay.
I know that may be true, but they're also bringing it to the present.
Okay.
And, then of course, trying to have both a seriousness and a lightness to what you do is being able to have these moments where you allow people to have a range of experiences and emotions and feelings, because it might bring them great joy to talk about the past. It may be pained. There may even be a lightness or a humor with it.
So do you have like a go-to strategy for when things might be getting tense to reestablish rapport?
Yeah, I think, one of the things, of course, as we've talked about, is having a mutuality.
Okay.
I think too, what I try to say in moments where there's a lot of pressure and it may be the right fit or may not, say, okay, well, it would be really great to work together. It may not work for this project. So we make a list. What are the things that would either be decision makers for you or deal breakers? And let's write down that list. Let's see what we can do. And maybe it can't work. And it often just lightens the moment. It takes a burden off someone's shoulders to say, oh yeah, really what this comes down to, this big historical issue, is that I really don't want anyone to mess with the lawn that we just replanted last year.
That lawn.
Right? Or, yes, I'm okay with, building this really important participatory artwork, but can you not do it on Tuesdays? And then you say, okay, I have a list. Let me go check. And in your head, you're like, I don't have to do it on Tuesday. But you have a list that you can refer to, and it can be the reason why it didn't work or the reason why you were able to overcome it and actually build trust in the process.
So I hear two things. One, I hear be willing to walk away, but in a very nice way. Like, hey, maybe this doesn't work out. And then the second thing is you're also bringing in negotiation skills by writing down the interests and just saying, what are the things, and kind of speculating on a future so that you're both being willing to walk away, but not just completely walking away and leaving them and doing that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is about trust, and it actually is mutual.
Okay.
If I've sat with someone and they say, here are the 5 kind of conditions of being able to realize something that we might share and want to do.
Yes.
And I go work for weeks or months or maybe even years on those conditions. And I come back and they say, you know what? Never mind. I didn't mean that. I meant
Okay.
something else. You say, okay, that's hard for us to have trust. Of course, things change all the time, but
They do.
it gives us a kind of starting point, and we can be able to say, you know, I've had experiences where someone's like went in cautious
Yes.
to a project, and then afterwards they say, I really felt like I was listened to. And for me, in listen to, of course, is not just about these 5 things on a list. It's
Right.
a feeling, but these 5 things give us a focus, and it lifts the burden off. And then we can also sometimes be able to laugh at the challenge of
Right.
something, and we then have a shared goal of trying to deal with particular conditions that may or may not be able to be
Right.
overcome. I also try to take into account my capacity
Okay.
and my team's capacity.
Right.
If someone says, you know, this is not literal, this is more like descriptive, but I'm going to need you to jump high. And you say, how high?
Yes.
And they say, a foot off the ground. Say, okay, I think we
Is
can
that
all
your
get
vertical?
a foot off the ground.
Is that your vertical leap?
I think it's a little bit more,
I
but I don't
think
want.
mine's
But I don't want
less.
to promise.
I think
But if
mine's
someone
less.
says no, it's going to be 10 feet,
Okay.
and there's no help from a trampoline, so you know what? That's something we can't do. You're going to need someone else to
Okay.
be able to do that. So I think just it is also about, again, mutuality that includes dreams, hopes. We like to defy the status quo,
Okay.
but also recognizing parameters. And that is where not just rapport comes from, but trust and quality of work.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you for this conversation.
you.
No, thank you. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions for me, you can go to my website, www.conversations.biz, or direct message me. And I've always wanted to sign off on a show like this. Since we're in a car, don't drive like my brother.
Don't drive like my brother.